Hey, everybody, welcome in. Did you survive the cold? Did you just turn into a popsicle outside your house? I almost did, but we made it. The sun is out, and now the roads are just wet and sloppy and a mess, and my shoes got all dirty when we went to lunch. But it's all right. We are back with another episode of Guerilla Sports Off Ice, presented by our friends at RefiJet. More on them later. I've got such a special guest, special in my heart, on the set with me today. He's back by popular demand. JJ Jerez will be joining me in just a moment. And we're going to take this as an opportunity. Look, the Avs got a couple days off in Toronto before the next game. We've got the Olympic break coming up. We're going to take this as an opportunity with JJ coming in here to kind of just recap where we're at, what's going on, and what are the haps around the league? What are some of JJ's thoughts on this Avs team and the start they've gotten off to in the first half of the season? All of that coming your way. Got a great show for you. Want to start by reminding you guys about our outstanding partners over at Furniture Row. Furniture Row is a family-owned company that offers high-quality home furniture at an incredible value, and it's an experience tailored for everyone. Furniture Row has grown to over 100 locations across the USA in order to make shopping at Furniture Row something that works for everyone in every state. And they've designed their business around three core values: terrific selection, unbeatable value, and a knowledgeable staff. The power of an enjoyable, hassle-free shopping experience. People love being able to shop for their living room, dining room, and bedroom furniture all in one location. And if you like the look of this gorgeous new set we've got here, you got to head on over Furniture Row, FurnitureRow.com. Real furniture, real value, Furniture Row. Hey, everybody, welcome in. How's it going? He's here. He is back. JJ Jerez back on Guerilla Sports Off Ice. Megan's got the day off, and gosh, what a pleasure it is to see your shining face in that seat.
Yeah, if you would have seen the eye roll I had when you mentioned that we had a special guest today, it's like the real Guerilla Sports followers that started us from day one. I'm not special at all.
You're special to me.
I got like 1,000 podcasts played, over 1,000 podcasts in my career. Not special at all. Just a guy doing Avalanche stuff. But I'm happy to be back here talking some Avalanche hockey. I mean, I know there's a lot of people. I wouldn't say a lot. There's a few people out there that miss me, miss podcasting,
a lot,
miss listening to my podcast. So I just want to let those people know I like to show up every once in a while and say, hey, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. It's just a small sabbatical.
Yep. And I just love anytime you and I can get together and chat some puck. And yeah, it's been way too long since we've been able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been your podcast partner, and in that time there's been a lot of thoughts that run through my mind, and it's like, man, I've spent so much time dedicated to covering hockey, playing hockey, following hockey, studying hockey. It's like now in my mid-30s, almost late 30s now, it's like, shoot, I'm not qualified for really much else. I kind of need to get back into the podcasting game because it's all I know how to do.
I had that thought because I did 2001 Cup night on whatever that was, Friday, and like that was the 95 because my family moved here in 1994, so the 95-96 season, like that was the one that like sparked my love of the game. 2001 was where I like became like helplessly obsessed with the game. And like you said, I was sitting there thinking about the other day, I was like, God, thank God this has worked out to this point, because I don't know what else I would do.
Yeah, exactly.
If I wasn't just talking about hockey. But I'm in the middle of sending out a tweet here with the link for the show. But no, man, like you and I have talked privately and texted each other and stuff like that throughout the year. But like, it's been a crazy start to this season, especially given the way the last few went for the Avs with all the uncertainty and Gabe and Val and injuries and salary cap. And like one of the last times you and I were on together, I don't think the last time, but one of the last times was when they traded Mikko Rantanen. Like,
no, that was the last time.
Was that the last time?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if you had maybe been in over the summer or something like that. But like there's been so much external stuff, like away from the ice shit to talk about since they won the cup, that like this year has actually been really fascinating because like I don't feel like there's a ton of crazy storylines. Like it's how is the team playing, and that almost kind of feels like the extent of it.
Yeah, it's got to be fun for you and our fellow media coworkers, I guess you could call them. You're going into that locker room after every game, after a win, and a nice win at that, right? I mean, I'm a gambling type of guy, and they are covering the puck line left and right. I mean, you and I remember we would start our videos with that sometimes a couple years ago. When the Avalanche win, the Avalanche cover the puck line. But this year's been on a different level. It's fascinating to me because if you really take a step back and look at it, I don't feel like this team is necessarily any better than last year or the 2 years ago, or even the team that won the cup.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like there's some things that they've tightened up. And this is where I really feel Jared Bednar needs to win the Jack Adams this year, because I don't think they have an exceptionally amazing team. Yeah, they got the stars that they've always had, but they're just not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they've just reached a different level without just buying more players and getting more pieces in here that are the right fit. And you can tell because they're still constantly making moves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about this Avalanche team. And I've always given Chris McFarland credit for this, is he's never complacent. Even if they're playing well, like they have been this year, he's still like, where can we get better? They're still going to make a splash at the trade deadline. And the team that we see go into the playoffs isn't the same team we're seeing last night or tomorrow or whenever the next game is. Because Chris McFarland knows the way the league runs. And yes, you can have an amazing start, but now look, we're in some turbulence. There's a lull. You're kind of seeing, okay, here are some flaws that are kind of glaring. Here are some things that we need to address at the trade deadline, to where Chris McFarland's gonna address those problems. Well,
and not to sound fucking overly homer here, but like, not only do I agree with you about Jared Bednar, and folks who listen to the show know that I'm a huge fan of just Jared Bednar's approach, leadership, his coaching style, all that stuff. So not only do I think he needs to get some credit, and the way that the GM of the Year award is voted on is super weird anyways. It's not done until after the playoffs start and all that stuff. But like, what Chris McFarland has done, and I totally get what you're saying about like, it's not that the team, and you can maybe make the argument on goaltending, but it's not that the team is like so exponentially better than it has been in recent years. But like, he took a lot of heat last year. Understandably, you traded Mikko Rantanen. So like, there was a lot of scrutiny on that. But the first thing that he told us when we got the chance to talk to Chris McFarland after that trade was, look, I think it was the first words out of his mouth were, we weren't deep enough. And like, he looked at it and understood Mikko Rantanen's an elite all-world player. But like, so let's say you don't do that deal, and let's even say you get him at 11, right? So less than what he ended up signing for, which I don't know if you were. Like, the makeup of the team this year looks so much different. And it's just, he made a really difficult move last year at a time that he felt he needed to, and he was able to put pieces in place that I think have put the team in a better position than, honestly, I'll just go, every other team in the NHL right now. Like, I do think that there is a gap between how good they are. And again, I think there's several reasons why you could make the argument for why they're that good. But I think there's them, and then I think there's a gap, and then I think there's a bunch of other teams.
The Mikko Rantanen trade is a perfect example of this, but Chris McFarland is really good at taking the emotion out of it for himself. It's purely based on numbers. It's purely based off results. I remember a couple years ago, you and I were sitting here pumping Chris McFarland's tires after the Tomas Tatar trade and saying, wow, he did, because he did that early in the season, if you remember. And it was like, wow, credit to him for taking an honest look at the team and realizing what has to go. He still does that. He's still just purely, we're results driven. We have a cap to comply to. We're going to make decisions based off those two things and those two things alone. Yes, Mikko, we love you, but that's not what's motivating us anymore. Sorry,
And it was also unfortunate. I'm not going to talk about Mikko, but like, he also did the right thing on that trade. Like, he traded him out east, traded him to a team you see twice a year. Like, he makes the right moves, and who would have foreseen that he ends up getting, bounced around right back into the Central Division. But
yeah. I think what went really well was Marty Nietzsche stepped in and produced, started scoring and getting apples left and right. But then signing him for such long term, it's like, okay, I think I'm at peace with the trade now, because not only is he replaced by somebody adequate, he's going to be here a long time. They're hanging on to him. I wonder how Nathan McKinnon looks at that, though. He's like, man, Marty, you might be here longer than me.
Well, so like I think, I guess that part.
Yeah.
I'll say I think back to when they got Lehkonen, because Nate really he grew up near Justin Barron and all that stuff. So he was a big fan of that kid. They traded a first-round pick, and I think it was after the Western Conference Final. He was like, I'd trade 5 first-round picks for Lecky. So I was going to say, I'm sure as long as Marty Nietzsche just keeps scoring, he doesn't really give a crap. Well, and then the other thing, and we're going to talk about him in a minute, so we can circle back. But if you keep Mikko, that move also allowed you to have Brock Nelson here this year, which that's a whole separate thing that we need to get into about what he's doing. But there is someone I wanted to talk to you about just to get your thoughts on it, because Megan and I have started arriving at the conclusion that, and it's a shame because I like the player a lot. I think he's good. I think he can serve a utility, and I like the person in equal amount. But we are coming to this conclusion that it's more and more likely than not that Ross Colton gets moved. And I think that's just a result of, like, for whatever reason, it just, like, they just can't find, like, the spot on the puzzle where his piece fits perfectly.
Right. It comes in spurts. You know, he has really good stretches, and then he disappears for stretches, and then he comes back, and it's, I feel like, a common theme in sports. A player can really get hot for a little bit of time, right? But it's about the consistency. It's about being able to show up every day and do exactly what's asked of you. And not saying that Ross Colton is actively saying, I'm not going to do what's asked of me.
Right.
But you're right. There's just something, everybody's trying to work through it, but it just can't get worked through. And there are just still those spurts of where's Ross Colton? Why isn't he being the Ross Colton we know he can be?
Right. And like, you know, you're getting close to the trade deadline, and you're starting to have those conversations again of like, okay, do you upgrade for a 3C? And there's been a couple of these where it's like, it feels like this should be like, it feels like the solution is already there, but it just doesn't work. And the one area where it feels like it has worked a little bit is like second line wing, or like Nathan McKinnon's wing. And it's like, okay, well, great.
I could probably score a couple on that wing.
Did you see the interview that we did with Ross at the beginning of the year, where he told me when he was playing with Nate and Mikko, he goes, and honestly, you could probably get out there and put a couple in. So like, yeah, like even, you know, and again, that's not taking anything away from Ross Colton. I think Ross Colton's a really good player. I love the edge he plays with. I love the passion he plays with. And
he fits the culture, right? I know that's a huge caveat for when they bring players in. He has the hard work ethic. He wants to learn. He wants to improve.
And like, you and I just always have really enjoyed talking to him in the room. Like,
absolutely.
he's just a good dude.
Pleasant guy.
Right. And so like, I you know, like the person side, like I hate talking about like, oh, he might be out of here. But like, I just keep sitting here going, I don't know how many spots are left for them to try him in this lineup. And so I just, like I said, that's a guy that I wouldn't at all be surprised to see traded, but I feel like it would be one of those things where it's like, that's a shame because it feels like it should work. And it just doesn't for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, you got to cut it and move on. That's the kind of C-Mac's MO, right? He'll look at it honestly and make the move that he finds appropriate. And we've had these conversations about trading Ross Colton in the past. I'm sure it's just hey, we're not finding the right fit. We don't find a good trade partner for this. We haven't liked it yet. But it's been a couple years of us having this conversation.
Right. And, you know, there were reports over the summer that maybe there were a couple trades that were agreed upon, but player maybe flexed an a no trade option. You know, I don't know. Like I said, just from liking Ross Colton, the person, I'd love to see them work it out, but I just don't know if it does.
That's why we were so devastated at the Mikko Rantanen trade. Probably
right.
Way more than fans were, because we got to know him. We really liked him. He was really nice to us all the time. And so it's like, I haven't been in the locker room since Marty Nietzsche has joined the team, but I'm sure he's a nice dude too.
He's nice. And I'll say something I know you'll get, and I don't have to like publicly drag him. he's got a little Ben Myers, Arturi Lehkonen in him. And so like he's good and he's nice.
He's just not the bubbly, friendly,
right.
say hi in the parking lot type of guy.
Mm-hmm,
gotcha.
Mm-hmm. I want to get to one other thing, but just really quick side note. Did you and I maybe not undersell, but underestimate what Gabe Landeskog means to the team? Like, I asked that almost kind of rhetorically because I think everybody did.
It seems that way now that he's out again.
Yeah,
look at the difference of team that they had with and without him. However, it's not surprising that Gabe Landeskog is back on the injured reserve because that's his style of game.
Mm-hmm,
he's going to go to the net hard. He might run into the goalpost and crack a rib. He's going to go into the corners. So it's just kind of who he is, and you got to kind of learn how to play without him at times because it's been like this his entire career.
Hasn't that's hey, there's Evan in the chat. Yes, do not adjust your television set. You are seeing it correctly. But isn't it interesting though? Or I have at least found it interesting how like he comes back from that 3-year injury and like is just immediately right back into every dog pot. Like that dude has had a half dozen collisions this year where I'm like, and then he just pops right back up. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
he's the type of guy that embraces what is expected of him. Yeah, that's what he missed the most when he was out with his knee. He couldn't wait to get into a fight. He couldn't wait for a scrum around the net after a whistle. Like that's what he wanted to do. That's what he was sitting on his couch missing, probably having his knee elevated. And he's like, man, I can't wait to just go and show everybody how gritty I am because that's what I do.
That first AHL game, he put a dude in a headlock, got in a scrum and just drags that guy out in a headlock. It's like, yeah, I imagine that's a competitive fire thing. You don't just like get over.
And it's all part of the process of being a professional athlete that I think he missed. As long as it wasn't his knee, he's like, hey, I'm on the injured reserve again. I got to rehab this. I got to strength. I know the process here. This is just all part of it. I'm happy to still be part of it.
Well, and can you not also sit here and say, because I think that Gabe is even a little surprised at how good he's felt, how well the knee is held up. So the silver line here, as soon as I heard upper body, it's like, all right, he gets a few weeks off the knee. Like
100%.
That's probably not the worst thing in the world for a guy like him in his situation, is especially because he is going to the Olympics. He's getting his break in right here. Jared Bednar, our guy Evan, tweeted out this morning, Evan Rowell, that Jared Bednar.
Your guy, Evan.
My guy and not JJ's guy, specifically Evan Rowell, did tweet out this morning that Jared Bednar said that right now the target is for Gabe to be able to skate with Sweden at the Olympics, that he has officially gotten back on the ice. Still moving slow, still a little sore, but working his way back.
You know who could benefit from a break like you're mentioning? Just a built-in needs a break kind of guy, Cale Makar.
Yeah.
It seems like a couple of years now he's just playing through anything that comes his way. If he's got an injury, he's not even going to make any sort of deal about it. He's just going to keep playing through it. Some nights he'll put up 3 points, couple nights in a row he'll put up 0. But he's just going to keep on trucking. It'd be nice to get 100% full version of Cale Makar because I don't think I've seen that really. I don't want to say this year, but in a while.
Well, and the other thing I will say to folks, because there have been a lot of people who are like, well, the guys that are going to the Olympics aren't going to get a break. That is still a break from like the rigors of an NHL schedule. If you go to the gold medal game, I think it's 7 games over 3 weeks. Like,
it's just for guys like Makar, it's still 30 minutes a night.
No, for sure.
And we look last year at the Four Nations tournament. There was a little bit of a hangover from the Avalanche. They came out and lost the first 2 games after that. Granted, they went on a 6-game win streak after those 2 losses, but there was a little bit of a got to get back into this. And could it be from the guys who were resting that were a little bit rusty, or could it be from the guys who were playing the Four Nations that were a little bit tired? Who's to say? Yeah, but there's something there. 2 guys that are going to get breaks. And actually, I'd love your take before we fully get into the goalie stuff on, did you think Scott Wedgwood or Mackenzie Blackwood would have made Team Canada? Funny you asked me this because I've had conversations with your guy, Arif. And honestly, there was a window of time where I thought Canada would be stupid to not take both of them.
Mm-hmm.
They should have taken both of them because they were both playing well. In my personal opinion, Mackenzie Blackwood is a 10 out of 10 goalie. His movement is amazing. His size is amazing. His athleticism is amazing. We need to see the Mackenzie Blackwood of last year, though. We haven't seen him all year. Of course, he's got to get into a rhythm, right? He needs to get more games played. That's what Bednar said. That's what Mackenzie Blackwood has said. But at the end of the day, he just needs to show up and be himself. We've seen him let in a lot of goals uncharacteristically in a lot of his starts. Yesterday was a good exception. Good to see the progress.
Played well yesterday.
He just needs to string it together. We've seen it. We've seen it in, okay, he'll come out, have one good game. And Jared Bednar's really sheltered him. He's been playing against the weaker teams, and still, I think there was a game against Buffalo when they were still the shitty Buffalo team that we know and love. And Buffalo came in here and put up 4 or 5 on him. And it's like, what's going on here?
Well, and not to cut you off, but you mentioned the size. He reminds me of, I think Andrei Vasilevsky is the best goalie that's ever played. That's just me. He reminds me, he's like that kind of goalie where he's huge, but he can move. He's athletic,
and that's why
flexible.
I personally think he's better than Andrei Vasilevsky, especially present day Andrei Vasilevsky. Is his movement is sharper, it's more athletic, it's more just textbook. I mean, I love Mackenzie Blackwood.
And then you've got Scott Wedgwood, who is kind of the opposite stylistically, but he was a guy that I thought Canada would take from this person. We're trying to get our third, and who's going to be the best guy in the locker room, the best guy that's just, excited to be there, whatever. And I thought they would take Scott for here's a guy that we know isn't going to, if he plays every game or if he plays none, he's not going to make waves. He's going to in a negative way.
Or if you need him and there's a pinch, he's going to be ready.
Right.
He's used to not playing for 10 days at a time and then jumping in there and having a good showing. So it would have made good choices. And I think they blew it on the goalie decision.
I completely agree.
Terrible.
I completely agree. I also heard, I think it was Dave Amber make the argument that he said that he thought Canada should have taken Colorado goalies because your top pair is Colorado's top pair. He's like, so why would the defenseman that you're going to be rolling out there the most, theoretically, right? It's like, why wouldn't you bring their goalies? If assuming the goalies are good enough, which in this case they are, that was kind of his argument, which I thought was interesting and not one that I hadn't thought about it from that perspective of hey, you're the pairing that you're going to be rolling out there with 2 minutes left trying to, lock the game down are the guys that he plays with 82 games a year. And I just thought that was interesting.
I do too, but I love the pairing. It's interesting to see how they're going to navigate the Wedgwood and Nabokov situation. That's why they only gave Wedgwood 1 year, because they're probably hoping to get Nabokov over here. But wouldn't you rather have Scott Wedgwood stay around? I would.
And dude, and you know this, better than most being a goalie. I think Nabokov, that's still, I think if everything goes exactly how you want it to, and Evan, if he's still listening, could probably chime in here. It's he hasn't gotten off to a great start this year in the KHL. But to me, I think if everything goes right, I think you're probably still talking 4 years from now before you're having a realistic conversation about can that guy become a full-time contributor for you, for starter or otherwise. And that's I think if everything goes really, really well. I still think you're a few years out where he'll probably come over to North America at the end of this year. He'll probably do some time splitting with Trent Miner next year. And then I think your hope is the year after that, he fully takes over for the Eagles. And then you want him doing that for a little while. And the year after that, yeah, maybe he's your injury call-up guy. So seriously, I think that's already 3 years down the road. And then you get to 4 years and you're like, okay, maybe at that point you can start having the conversation of, is he at the point where he can back up Mackenzie Blackwood for the last couple of years of this contract? And then I think it's after that, if he continues to do everything right and you haven't traded him yet, then you can have the conversation of where's Ilya Nabokov.
I think, we were already pumping C-Max tires a little bit at the beginning of the show. I'll pump them again a little bit because this happened a couple years ago when Pavel Francouz just started lighting up the league, and people who had never heard his name before suddenly knew the name Pavel Francouz, and then the Avalanche signed him. Long, I don't remember if it was long. I think it was like 4 years at the time. It'd be huge if they did that again, because what you have in Blackwood, your long-term guy, he's going through something physically. He might also be going through something mentally right now. It can't be easy for him coming into the season being like, oh, I know I'm the guy. Then what happened at the beginning of the year? Then Scott Wedgwood steps in, crushes it. Suddenly, Blackwood's sitting there thinking like, okay, am I an afterthought? Right. I was at a game. Actually, I think it was that same Buffalo game. They handed out a little Lego thing that you had to build. 1 million pieces, by the way. F whoever thought of that give out at the game. But I sat there for 3 straight days like, okay, I already started this. I got to finish it. But anyway, they handed out a Scott Wedgwood little figurine, the backup goalie. How often does the backup goalie kind of take the show and steal the promos and steal the spotlight from the guy who's supposed to be your starter long term? So I think kind of Blackwood watching all this along with going through whatever he's going through physically, I think there's some confidence and some mental hurdles he's going to have to clear before he's back to himself, and that could be tomorrow. It could be next season. So you need to have that solid A2 backup plan.
Well, and we saw it in 2022. Darcy Kemper goes down at multiple times during the playoff run, including the entirety of the Western Conference Final. You need another goalie that you feel confident in. And I remember that being a conversation that you and I had several times about Justus Annunen, where it's like, yeah, it's fine. If he's got to come in relief for a game for you, whatever. If you got to start him against, the Chicago Blackhawks, whatever. But if you get into a playoff series and suddenly you got to go to that guy, oh shit. And so I'm
Justus Annunen type feels.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's Annunen, you're not feeling good.
Best Avs pairing ever?
I think you can make an argument for Kemper Francouz, depending on how I think very highly of Darcy Kemper.
It's easy to throw Wah Abisher because Wah played like 90% of the time.
Right. Did you hear that in the interview we did with him the other night? He goes, when I first started, Wah told me, be careful. It's hard to be Patrick's backup. It's like, God damn, he told you that? But I mean, so let's even say you want to just give in fully to the nostalgia. I do think this is the best tandem since Wah Abisher.
Yeah, I liked, what was it, Varley Grubauer for a little bit, but it proved to be not that good.
Yep. Well, and it was, I also thought that one was a little too, who's the starter? Like, and to the point where I wanted to go with this. So Blackwood started the season not ready. And I fully believe that at the beginning of all of it, like, there was a sense of relief because McKenzie didn't have to rush back from injury. Wedgwood played so well out of the gates that it was like, all right, we feel good. We feel confident. And so McKenzie was able to kind of take his time. And then I think he came back, and like, one of the things I respect the most about Jared Bednar is he is open, honest, and like, someone asked him about like, well, do you need to get Blackwood in more games? And his answer was, that's not my problem. That's McKenzie's problem. Like, he's got to earn the net, which I agree.
I didn't love that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now let me rephrase that. I didn't love that for the goalie. I love that mentality for every other position on the team. I love that mentality for every other position on the team. But I did find that answer a little interesting because it was one of those things where it's like, well, you're the one that kind of makes the decision on whether he plays or not. So like, but like, I think he was just kind of trying to make the point of, which I also don't necessarily disagree with. And I know that kind of makes it so I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but like, Scott Wedgwood was playing so well. How do you pull the plug on that? But I guess that's where you have to balance kind of the point you're making of if you have a guy like McKenzie that needs to get some reps, you need to find a way to get him reps.
Because if not, it's a cycle. If you're going by that Bednar mentality, it's you need to show us you're good enough, but we're not going to give you the opportunity outside of practice. And it's like, well, the game is where I show you how I'm good enough. If you're only going to play me against Philadelphia and I get 19 shots a game, which that was just a hypothetical situation. I know Philadelphia just came in and sent a message, but you got to give your goalie the opportunity, especially when he's the main guy.
And I know Scott wasn't there. He just had a kid and all that stuff, but it was why I liked McKenzie getting the start immediately again. Great bounce back, 48 hours later. I think that's how you have to handle that type of stuff of you got bucked off, get right back on and finish the ride.
I do like the comment here from looks like Kate. Their relationship with each other is so good, and that's what's really important. And it is important. It's underlooked. A lot of goalies get along anyway because, hey, we're in the brotherhood. We do this together.
But the last two goalies, not that they didn't get along, and I know you haven't been back in the room since the new goalies have shown up. It's Mackenzie Blackwood has almost kind of taken on the Mikko Rantanen role. Like, you know how Mikko, it felt like he had something to say to every guy that walked in the door, like to the locker room. Like he was chirping about something, talking shit about something that had happened on the ice. But Mackenzie is kind of taking that role. And so just, again, way more vocal. Both goalies will end up sitting there at practice, just kind of holding court with the media. They'll both just have their pads. It's so funny. They'll like undo their leg straps, but then their toe ties are still attached. And they'll just sit there with their pads attached to their feet, just talking to everyone for 30 minutes.
Wow.
And so, and again, like they joke with each other from across the room. They've got some like inside jokes that they are in on with like a lot of other guys in the room. So someone will walk in and they'll both start fucking barking at them and all that stuff. And so it's like you said, goalies get along, but it is a 180-degree.
Yeah, Georgiev was an outlier. Like he's very stubborn. He was very set on his ways, and if you told him something he didn't agree with, he was going to let you know and feel it. And there was definitely an energy in that locker room towards the end of his tenure here where you could feel like, I don't think anybody likes him in here,
right?
Let alone the coaches. Like it just kind of felt like that. And, you know, he'd have this, like, what are you going to say? Energy to us about to the media, right? Like, I don't know. It's hard to say it without giving an example. Like, hey, you kind of let in some shaky goals tonight. No, I didn't.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you did.
Right. And it was almost like he knew what was coming, kind of thing. Like he's not dumb. He knows how he played. And from the sounds of it, and no one has outright said this, but from the sounds of it, like it sounds like sounds again, Jesus Christ. There was tension after a lot of games. Players were aware of it. The goalies were aware of it. Nobody was physically speaking it out loud.
But I think if that were to happen to the current two goalies who are more liked, more charismatic leaders in the room, that can get overlooked for an extent. But when you're playing bad and you're kind of being an asshole to everybody, your time is going to run out.
Not taking accountability and you know, any of that stuff. And you know, and this was referred to kind of as like I can't remember if it was, I think it was C-Mac. And he said it kind of like in passing, but he mentioned last year Georgiev slashing Sam Malinsky after that goal went in. And again, like in real time, blaming Sam Malinsky. There was the video that came out of him and Rantanen yelling back at each other after a goal.
Oh, yeah, I remember that well.
And
he told him
I'll fucking kill you. Yeah. And it's just like, I think it had gotten to that point where, yeah, there was no more grace for a bad goal, a bad game. They were starting every game behind 2-0.
Yeah. Or if he could have just been a nice guy, they'd be like, he sucks, but at
Mhm.
least he's cool.
Right.
But no, I think I forget which team he signed with in the KHL, but when he got signed, they had this little profile on him, right? And part of it, he had to make sure, like, I like to go to the library and I like to read books.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Georgiev, let it go. Like, you need to be more social, be more friendly.
Did you see?
Not like, hey, I'm coming here to be alone. If any of my teammates want to be friends, I'm not here to be friends.
So 2 things on that. One, did you see he did a photo shoot with the library in the town that he's in?
Yes.
I've never heard of that. The library hired him to model and just take photos around the library. Absolutely bananas. But to your point, did you read the caption of what he wrote on that Instagram post where he was like, I'm here for this season. And he put markers around the word this and bolded it. I'm here for this season. So again, you're showing up. Hey, happy to be here. I'm only here for right now.
Don't get it twisted. I plan to go back to the NHL.
Right. And again, it's just like, hey, not my pig, not my farm, but
I just remember too, because you used to bring this up all the time when he first got here, and he was talking to a New York media guy, right? And that guy said, "When did you finally realize you can be a starter?" And he's like, "I've always known I can be a starter." At first, we liked that. At first, we were like, "That's some confidence. That's some fire in this guy. He wants to take it by the horns and own it." Now it's like, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes more sense about who he is and who he was.
Right. We got the super chat.
Oh my God, what is happening?
We got the super chat lights. If someone just turned the pod on, they'd think this is a repeat from 3 years ago. Yeah, you're not wrong, but I don't know how we got fully down this Georgiev road.
I don't know. I kind of take that as a compliment. Is he saying we haven't aged?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
In 3 years.
I think that's what it is.
No,
bro, I have
love vaguely
stats
now.
Yep.
He's always changing the name on us.
Ever since we started Guerilla, there's so much more gray in my beard than there was 3 years ago. All right. We're running a little long here, so I'm gonna move quicker through this, but I've still got things on the docket. So let me know if you just need to leave at some point. Brock Nelson.
I gotta go.
Brock Nelson.
Man.
Speaking of, all right, do you not think that Four Nations photo last year just really hurt his brand?
Absolutely, and it hurt my heart a little bit because I'm older than him, and I'm like, shoot, are we that old?
Dude, it's brutal. I can't remember who I was talking to, and they were like, oh, well, then there's Brock Nelson, but like he barely counts. He's old. Right. I was like, he's like 7 months older than I am.
And any pundits outside of Colorado are like, oh, Team USA doesn't want Brock Nelson. He's too old because of that. Just that picture.
I seriously think it's because of that photo.
That picture alone.
He's 34. Like he's really not that old.
No,
he's still in technically his early 30s. He's in the front half of his 30s.
He's been awesome. I think the first part of the season was still kind of slow for him, but he really got in a groove. He kind of got promoted a little bit up the lineup, right? Up the depth chart. So I think once that happened, naturally, you play with better players, you're going to play better yourself, but you got to make it consistent. You got to make it last. And that's what he's been able to do this last stretch. I've seen a lot of rumors lately about Nazem Kadri getting out of Calgary. Maybe it'd be a good fit in Colorado. Brock Nelson makes that a no-go for me.
Well, so like I was talking to, a bunch of us were talking about it the other day, and someone was like, well, I just don't know if Nazem Kadri's the same player. It's like, well, he's not. He's 3 years or whatever, 4 years older. And I think if you were to do it, and I'm with you, I think it's really hard to make sense unless Calgary's going to eat 3 years worth of money. But like he's solidly, clearly behind Brock Nelson. Like if you're bringing him, he's the 3C.
Which, how does that sit with him, Kadri?
Right. Yeah, I'll say that's the situation he wanted to be traded out of before he came to Colorado. But no, dude, I just I also think, and Jared Bednar has brought this up a couple times this year, like I don't know if we all gave enough, credit for like how Brock Nelson played for one team his whole career, lived in one place, a very different place than Colorado, the opposite side of the country. When he first got traded here, before he knew if there was an extension, the family wasn't here with him. So I think it was kind of a slow start, but like he's comfortable. He knows his role. And like what I love about it, and because he's doing what Naz could do, he's driving that line. Like he's the Nate of the second line, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, I guess just looking at Kadri, I feel like Dallas would be the best place for him because it feels like Dallas has this just hatred towards Colorado that Colorado doesn't necessarily reciprocate. It's like, yeah, we don't like Dallas, but it's not like we're saying here in Colorado, we gotta beat Dallas, and that's it. I feel like that's what they're saying in Dallas, especially with Mikko Rantanen's energy and mentality. The tweet Nazem Kadri sent out when the Mikko Rantanen trade happened. You don't let go of the dogs. I could see them reuniting to try to take down the mighty Avalanche, and it honestly might be a pretty good fit there for Kadri in Dallas. It'd be fun to see them go head-to-head, Dallas and Colorado, but I don't think it'd be enough to make them a better team than Colorado because I like what Brock Nelson brings to the table. I like the way the center depth has kind of shaken out the last couple of years, and yeah, just not a fit.
Yeah, I Megan and I kind of did our very first, like, we put together our trade boards for the last show of like, these aren't necessarily based on any rumors or anything like that, just guys that we think would make sense. And you know, as we're going through, you know, there's a lot of those, like, I don't know who makes sense. I don't know who fits. I just really like this group. All right. In the spirit of continuing to move, Sam Malinsky. I mean, for as long as you and I have done content together, I've been a big defender of Sam Girard. I think this is a guy that, and I still feel this way, I think is criminally underrated by the Avalanche fan base. I think that is a set and forget second pairing guy on any team in the league. And I think there's probably a dozen or so teams that would drop him straight onto their top pair. Granted, that's probably teams in the bottom portion, but point being, I think he's a very good defenseman, who's an incredible skater whose skating gets overlooked because he plays on a team with Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon, but he's just a blast to watch out on the ice. I think the emergence of Sam Malinsky here has made it so that
now it's time.
It might be time. Maybe not at this deadline. I'm thinking more summer, but like, I really like Sam Malinsky. Holy smokes.
Yeah, he's amazing how it kind of all panned out. It's just this older college guy showed up on the scene, don't know what to expect from him. He's all right. But the progress, the continued work, again, probably an amazing fit to the culture, wants to do the workouts, wants to be there for the post-game exercising that they do, wants to make sure he's in video and understanding what's expected of him. Where Sam Girard, I feel like his love for the game has always been a question mark. And I don't know if that's exactly the fit that the Avalanche love, right? And so maybe that's where there's a little bit of, I don't know, tension with Sam Girard because, yeah, some days he's amazing. Some days he's fantastic. Other days he has the turnover that lost you the game. And so is he the prototypical guy that the Avalanche are looking to fill that locker room? They must have some sort of yes in their mind to keep him around this long. But it feels like, yeah, it's maybe time to not move away from Sam Girard himself, but maybe move away from that style of defender.
Well, so, and do you know what I think it is that I think makes Sam Girard, again, whatever word it is that we're looking to find here, because of the way you have this decor constructed now, like he's playing in a third pair role, and he is just so not a third pairing style defenseman. He is, on most teams, he would be the undersized, puck moving, you know, probably on one of the power play unit type guys. And here it's just like, we got three guys ahead of you that we'd rather have doing that. And so, again, I think, and again, you've heard me talk about it. Like, I think the way that Sam Girard gaps up and plays positionally, I think he does it really well because I think he's learned through his whole career, I am an undersized defenseman, so I have to be in the right spot. I
got to use my stick well. I got to use my positioning well. I agree. Yeah,
I think he's great with his stick. I think he does a good job getting in lanes. But yeah, it's just he's not ever going to clear somebody out in front. You know what I mean? Like,
and when he got here, the smaller defenseman was different back then. You know,
Right.
you look at Tyson Barrie. Tyson Barrie was like the first of his kind.
mhm.
Look at Cale Makar. Cale Makar was like, whoa, this might be the greatest NHL player ever.
Right,
Now
right.
that other teams have caught on, other players have come out similar. Obviously, there's no other Cale Makar.
Mhm.
He's still extremely good,
Yeah.
but I don't know if he's going to be, the way we thought he was going to be
Well,
the first stretch of games.
Well, I don't even. I think it's very possible that he finishes, where we thought he'd be. Like, you look at a kid like Lane Hudson in Montreal, who like came in the league. He's like, "Yep, I modeled my game growing up off of Cale Makar."
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, okay, so how long till, even if it's not Lane Hudson, who looks like he's 9, by the way. The point is, like, there's already guys in the league who are saying they grew up modeling off of Cale Makar. They're already in the league. So that's only going to become, more and all that stuff.
Yeah, you look at Bedard, look at Celebrini. Like, the more those guys come into the league, the more Cale Makar just kind of blends in with the rest of them. And
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to Sam Girard, that quick, agile, shifty defenseman, it's easier to play against. It's out there now. The book is out on these guys. It's they know how to work around it now.
To your point, when he got to Colorado, it was him and Tyson Barrie for the app. And it was like, whoa, can they have 2 of these guys?
Yeah. Now they have 3.
Right. Okay. This will be a really quick one because I know you and I talked a little bit about it before. I have a ton of thoughts on it. Gavin Brindley, talk about undersized, listed at 5'9".
Jesse wants to emphasize to everybody that there's a good chance he's taller than Gavin Brindley.
I can neither confirm nor deny. But when you're in my height of work, you keep very special track of
You got to find wins where you get them.
Anywhere you can. Really loved his start of the year. Earned his spot on the team. Kind of had that like Logan O'Connor style mentality of like, I will go anywhere, difficult areas, front of the net, board battles, whatever. Combine that with some of the skill we saw. I really, really liked it. The concern I had all along is a concern that is creeping back into my head after getting to the point where it's like, yeah, this guy can play at this level. I have just gotten a little bit worried. One, after a couple of injuries, of him just taking massive hits by just like not picking his head up or going, to a dangerous area of the ice and not being ready for it. I do feel like he has become a little bit less effective, and I'm starting to worry that he's settling into like this is what happens to guys that are that undersized, who are unbelievably skilled. Like Marty St. Louis, Theo Fleury are kind of like the end of the list that you can like really confidently say.
Right. Yeah. You always see the smaller guy come in and make some noise. I remember Rocco Grimaldi made a little bit of noise here in Colorado. Once he went to Nashville, he was a mainstay on their team for a little bit. Now he's in the KHL.
Right.
We said at the beginning of the program, any athlete can go out there and have a good stretch. It's about how can you put it together for seasons? Can you put it for years at a time? I might lose a lot of people here, but the soccer team I follow in Spain had a guy come through their club, had a good first 2 months of the year, and they sold him for $7 million. Sold him while the stock was high, right? And in my mind, I'm like, sell his ass because he's not that good. Yeah. He just had a hot moment and a hot stretch, and they sold him at the perfect time. I think that's just normal for athletes. There's a time where you're just playing better and feeling better. There's a time where you're not. When you're small and you're trying to play a hard-nosed brand of hockey in the NHL, that's going to take a toll on you. That's going to take a toll on your body, and suddenly you're not going to even be able to physically do what your brain is telling you to do. And that might be the case for Gavin Brindley. But I just think I can't confirm that. I don't know if that's the case. Right. But we've seen that happen so many times on repeat throughout the years that I'd put my money on that.
TJ Tynan's an active example up in the AHL right now. We're like, dude's a 2-time AHL MVP. You watch him playing those games and he just flies around, makes these beautiful no-look passes, great moves up and down the ice. And then it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Stan Andrighetto. He had a great 20 minutes. And then by the time he was almost on his way out of here, people were chasing him with torches and pitchforks.
I once predicted he would have a 40-point season and people laughed at me. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then he didn't even get fucking close. Not even close.
I remember one time watching a warm-up of his, and it was just a pregame warm-ups, and he steps on the puck and is like spinning with it, still stepping on it. I'm like, whoa, that was so skilled and so cool. He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wasn't so good.
Remember, he had that, and he'd do it in practice all the time, that fake slap shot where he'd like full wind up, but then he would like hit it and stop it all
Go
at
to the
once.
backhand.
Yeah. He was so skilled. And then like the only other one that came to my brain is like Cole Caulfield is another like, but again, like that guy's a 40 goal scorer. That's
Right.
very
He's offensive. He doesn't go in the corners and battle.
Right. He's a clear top 6 skill guy.
Mm-hmm.
And where I'm going with this to segue into the last couple things that we're going to talk about today is I mentioned to Megan, because I do still think Gavin, former second round pick, is his second year in the league, got off to a really good start, has a good work ethic. I mentioned to Megan, I said, that's a guy I could see them trading. Not because you overly want to, not because you're trying to get rid of every young player and prospect you have. Nathan McKinnon at the beginning of the year, I'll pull the quote for next show, told us you can't win with kids. So we were asking about having a veteran, more experienced group. He said you can't win with kids. And we thought that was like kind of a profound thing for him to say, just given the way that the organization has shipped out any young player over the last couple of years. And I just sit there and go, okay, does Gavin Brindley suddenly give you, what other teams would consider to be an NHL ready prospect that they really like? And my point is, I wouldn't be surprised to see them, as much as people have liked him, as much as he's had a good showing, not great, good. I think there's a chance he finds himself flipped if the Avs are Nazem Kadri or one of the big fish that are out there.
Well, and that's what's tough about Kadri is if you go for a guy like that and want Calgary to retain, you're going to have to give up first rounders, and the Avalanche kind of can't keep doing that anymore. I mean, look at Cal Ritchie, right? That's going to sting to watch Cal Ritchie do the things he does for a while, but you can't win with kids, so you need a Brock Nelson here now.
Right, and again, like Lehkonen, if the Avs go on and win a cup this year, next year, whatever, and Brock Nelson plays a role in that, you're like, whatever. Cal Ritchie can go have whatever kind of career he wants to have, but you got to win on the front side of it all. Okay.
I can't believe the Islanders took Oliver Shillington in that trade too. I just had to look it up to make sure I remembered what the trade was.
Well, and dude, the one that is really looking kind of hilarious in retrospect is the one for Blackwood.
Yeah.
Kovalenko,
San Jose
KHL,
looks
Georgiev
dumb for that one.
KHL, and then a second round pick.
Especially with how good they are now, imagine how even better they would be with a guy like Blackwood.
Crazy, dude.
I mean, Askarov is okay, and Nedeljkovic is okay as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you have a guy like Blackwood, that team is so scary. San Jose's lost me so much money this year. They just don't stop winning.
Okay. Just I'm transitioning the Gavin Brindley can find himself on the trade block to just the trade market for coming up this season. Now, I was listening to a podcast, I think 2 weeks ago, and they were talking about Panarin. And this was right after the Quinn Hughes trade. And they were like, if Panarin's name is really going to be out there, teams are going to be in on it because these guys just don't come available. And I sat there and I said, we might have to stop saying that these guys just don't come available in the NHL.
They are available
every year. Quinn Hughes was traded this year. Mikko Rantanen, and if you want to get, real nip, Mikko Rantanen and Marty Netchis were traded last year. You see guys moving in free agency all the time. And every time this stuff happens now, Jack Eichel a couple of years before that, it's just like these players are on the move often. Mitch Marner this summer, like it maybe used to be that way in the NHL, but I feel like we keep hearing big names hit the trade market, hit the trade block, and it's like, oh man,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And it's like, really?
Wait till Connor McDavid becomes available.
Right.
And then everybody's like, this never happened. It happens every year.
It happens every year. But just, Artemi Panarin's potentially out there. Jason Robertson might be out there. Not necessarily for the Avs, but like, Jason Robertson might be out there. Nazem Kadri might be out there. Just your thoughts. Are there any names that have come across your screen that have made you say, ooh, I'd love to see, the Avs get a little frisky with that one?
No, there's not, because I don't think a guy like Panarin is what they need. I don't think the top of the lineup is what they need to adjust. You get Landy back, you get Taves back, you're back to being a really formidable team. Mm-hmm. It's the depth where they need to continue to just add strength. And it's like that every year. You're going to start off with the depth. Some guys go back to the AHL. Some guys come up, get an opportunity. Some guys stick. You get a trade. You get a waiver pickup. Who knows? But by the time playoff comes, you have to have that depth shored up, know who you're going with by the time, game one starts, and that needs to be the focus. So every year we sit here and throw names at the wall, and C-Mac does something that none of us expect. And so I don't like to lend too much time to, this is the guy I want to bring in, but I just think get Landy back, get Taves back, have the top six you have, fill out that bottom six a little better, and you'll be looking A-okay.
Let me lob a name at you. Vinny Trocheck for 3C.
That's fun. I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
That was just one of the names on my board the other day that he's got 3 years left, so he's got a little bit of term. Now he's making about 5.5. So like that's the Charlie Coyle money you just traded over the summer. But like, I think that's a guy that would make a ton of sense.
Obviously, I don't follow the Rangers all that much.
Right.
But I feel like he hasn't been all that great since he left Florida. He's had a stint in Carolina. He's had a stint in New York.
Was on the Four Nations team, did not make the Olympic team. But again, if you're asking a guy like that to play down your lineup a bit, I think you feel better. And then the one other thing was I was just going to say, like, I have a feeling that this year is going to go trade deadline wise, going to go very similarly to 2022, where the dust is going to settle and we're going to sit there and be like, you have too many. I think they're going to add more than they have to. I think that they're going to want to go a couple guys deep into the press box before you're getting to AHL call-ups.
That's one thing that's been on my mind a lot lately. The Avalanche have had an amazing start to the season, but the familiar injury bug hadn't really poked its head out yet. Mm-hmm. The Avalanche know that injury bug well. They're on a first-name basis. I think they call him Gerald. Them and Gerald, when Gerald showed up this year, only two guys, Taves, Landy, suddenly you're seeing some turbulence. You're seeing the slide. You don't want this to happen at playoff time. They've had it happen at playoff time. They're doing, and that's a great thing about having the consistency with Joe Sakic, C-Mac, and Jared Bednar for so many years is they've learned through mistakes together that they know what not to do. And so I think they're definitely, I'm with you. They're going to shore it up to where they have too many guys, because you can never have too many guys when Gerald shows up.
Well, and like, again, go back
Gerald.
Literally go back to the Cup final, and Nazem Kadri's having to play on a broken hand, and Andrei Burakovsky broke his foot, and
Sam Girard was out.
Sam Girard, which broke his sternum.
Which I've had some people tell me that was the best thing for Colorado was Sam Girard getting hurt in that final, which is kind of back to our conversation. What are the bad things about Sam Girard? I even think vaguely threw it in there that he's hurt a lot.
Yeah, he's hurt a lot. He's always gone. By the way, I just wanted to correct him. Vinny Trocheck did make the Olympic roster. I thought he was one of the Four Nations snubs, but I misspoke. So
right on. Him and Brock Nelson can be the old guys.
Right. But that's one of the names I looked at and I said, I think that would really fit for what they want to do, more so than Artemi Panarin's a 95-point guy, but like to steal the Herb Brooks line, not looking for the best players, looking for the right ones.
Yep. It's a long way from the heart.
Long way from the heart, and that'll bring me to my last point just to get your thoughts on. We're like 11 days from players heading to the Olympics. Just it's been
Canada is still plus odds, which I find mind-blowing. Yes, they don't have the best goaltending, but they have the best team hands down.
by a lot. By a lot, they have the best team.
Right. So
I think
to catch Team Canada to win gold at plus 115,
really
everybody needs to hop on that now. If
I'm
you're
going to do that today.
Yes.
Well, and you know, dude, like I think Team USA put together a good roster. Like, I think it's good.
It was fun, but who's the heart and soul of that team?
Well, so let me ask you a different question. Who's the Nathan McKinnon or Connor McDavid or Sidney Crosby or Cale Makar?
Right. I think when Jason Robertson didn't get picked, I think I saw Greg Wyshynski tweet, "Oh, so we're just going to heart and grit our way to bronze again this year, huh?" Because you're right. There is nobody that's that big of an offensive threat. But what I was going to say is the engine that runs that team are the Tkachuk brothers. Matt Tkachuk has not played this year because he's been so banged up. He had to force himself to play the Four Nations last year, wasn't himself. So with those two, with half of the Bash brothers not looking like themselves, I don't think the U.S. stands much of a chance unless they're looking to beat every team 1-0 because their goaltending is fantastic, which Connor Hellebuck hasn't been that great this year. He's been battling injuries. Jake Ottinger hasn't been fantastic.
And Connor Hellebuck, notoriously great for playing big when the moments really matter, right? Like that dude has now a multi-year track record of absolutely shriveling up when the lights turn on. And again, like it's the issue that I think Team USA will forever just kind of be plagued with is like you're never going to have the best player. You are never going to have the best. Like already we're sitting here and it's like, okay, so even if this next generation of a lot of really good USA players come up, you don't have Celebrini, you don't have Bedard, you don't have Matthew Schaefer, and then why is his name escaping me? The kid that's going to be number one next year at Penn State. Oh my gosh. It doesn't matter. Like you don't have those kids. You don't have any of like the next guy. So you don't have McDavid, you don't have McKinnon, you don't have Crosby, you don't have Makar. So you're already going to be putting together just a worse roster. And then, to take, and it's crazy because we saw them make this mistake in, was it 2014, the last time they went, where they just put together, we're going to grind Canada down. Carey Price gave up no goals for 3 weeks and Canada just kind of coasted to a win. And so, I don't know. That's shocking to hear that Canada is positive money.
Yep, indeed. And I think they'll be fine. The team can protect the goalies just fine. The goaltending decisions that we're calling trash are going to look just fine. And Canada's going to just easily skate their way to gold.
Now, here's the one thing I will say. Here's the only thing that I think could, and even that I think it can only undo them for so long. I'm going to be curious to see what kind of loyalty they show to Jordan Binnington, because they played him in every Four Nations game. Doug Armstrong wasn't going to leave his guy off the roster. And it's already being pretty well reported that he's going to get the first game. First game will go to Binnington. So, like, I don't know if Binnington comes out, and even if they escape 8-7, if he lays an egg against Latvia, is that enough for you to say, like, yeah, we're going to these two other goalies that are...
I just don't see it happening. The group in front of them, you hear me say it all the time, it takes 6 players to play goalie. So you can stick a Binnington back there and have Cale Makar and Devon Taves defending him, and he's going to have a good night. You know? Yeah, when he's behind the Blues defense and they're looking like sellers at the trade deadline because they just don't have the guys, Binnington's going to struggle. You know? It's like the Darcy Kemper in Phoenix versus the Darcy Kemper in Colorado.
Right. Yeah, like I said, that'll be the only thing that's intriguing to me is if for any reason, if at some point that tournament, Jordan Binnington is the reason it comes off the rails, just what kind of
I just don't see it happening.
Heat they take. I'm with you. I really like that team. I'm so excited to watch it. I wish the Russian hockey team was going just because of how good that team would be. I'm not going to get into all the geopolitical.
I wish they were
reasons
there.
here.
I wish they were there too, just from a hockey standpoint. And I also really love the concept of Team Europe because while Czech is going to have a good team, Finland's going to be good, Sweden's going to be good, none of them are going to compare to Canada. If you really want to build something where, quote unquote, best on best, like let's build some best teams geographically and try to make it, I don't know, more enticing.
Well, and the other thing that, and I'd love to have you come back in for that one too. Megan and I during the Olympic break are going to do a Canada and USA B team roster. Like we're going to build them. And like, to your point, I'd be pretty comfortable in saying that Canada B team would
medal.
Yeah. or at least be like in the conversation, be in that type of game. But yeah. Do you have anything else?
No.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it for today. Gosh, this was a pleasure. Andy upstairs asked us for our happy and crappy of every weekend. This was my happy for today. No doubt about it.
Thanks. My happy or crappy. It could be either one. Everybody, look what I did to my hair.
I was going to say.
I was trying to look like Carlos Alcaraz. It came out okay. We're at the ending stage of it.
When he first walked in, I said, "What's new?" He goes, "Nothing." I was like, "Well, that's a lie. I can see it from here. Something's new." Great to have you back here.
Good to be back. I hope to make it a regular thing here before the end of the season.
Me too. Absolutely love having you here. Shout out to John back behind the glass today, making it all happen. I think I heard Ashley back there as well. That's going to do it, guys. And before we get out of here, you guys heard me talk about it off the top. We talk about them every week. Our great friends over at RefiJet who help make this show possible. You guys hear me say it every week. You can refinance your auto loan, which was not something that I knew about before we teamed up with RefiJet, and they can save you around $150 every single month. All it takes is a soft credit pull. It's zero hassle. You get lower payments, you get flexible terms, and you might even get some cash back in your pocket from your car's equity. So head on over, refijet.com/sports. Fill out a form. See if they can't help you out. See if they can't help save you some money every single month, and you'll be supporting us and Guerilla Sports in a major way in the process. RefiJet.com/sports. It's a faster, easier way to refinance. He's JJ Jerez. I'm Jesse Montano. We got John behind the glass. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back. Avs off for a couple days here. So nothing from the rink. We'll be back talking to you guys here later this week. Have a great one. Stay warm out there. See you, folks.